Total, no doubt, but if you already have a 40 and you're wanting to step up to a 45,
No, sir, we're gonna go to a 9 millimeter.
or you're going to a 9,
Yes, sir.
okay.
It's the model, it's a 45 model.
The
not
model
45
45.
cal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the reason for that increase.
Is there a reason why y'all want to go to the 9 versus the 40? Because then,
To keep, well, for one, to keep uniformity with the county, where we all have the same, same pistol, same magazines, same caliber. Also, ammunition is cheaper for 9 millimeter. That reduces the money spent whenever we train. 9 millimeters, basically ballistically almost the same as 40 caliber from FBI testing. It's one of those things where we wanna not only replace an older handgun that we have, but also at the same time keep up with the county because they are advancing.
and 10 years ago was roughly the time that we had,
My specific Glock is from 2013.
but that's when the city decided to first purchase firearms for the department, correct?
Yes, sir.
What was it before? The officers got one,
They got
Yes,
their
sir.
own, they provided their own.
And,
and it was all different, everybody carried with it.
Everybody-
for the most part, yes.
Yeah, we did that 10 years ago with Mr. Henry Martinez.
Yes, sir. Other than that, do y'all have any other questions?
My only question is,
Yes,
these
sir.
two investigating positions that you're requesting, is there anybody in now that would be qualified, that can possibly qualify for this type of,
We can't count anyone out, but, we would definitely be opening it up to the outside.
wouldn't it be less expensive to train someone that's already in?
That's really tough to see, because experience in that field, it's not something that comes just with just a little bit of amount of training. A lot of it comes with actually doing the job. Of course, it is, in essence, an entry-level position for an investigator, because it is a corporate position. But we would definitely like to open it to the outside to see if there's any interest. Or we could, I mean, in the long run, having an investigator with some experience compared to training somebody, it's gonna make the job easier and, it should,
What's the starting
in
salary?
theory.
What's the starting salary for an investigator?
That's something I'm gonna have to refer to.
I need to go look at my job scale. I can let you know. Okay.
So Chief,
Yes, sir.
an investigator, in your experience in law enforcement, which you have plenty of years, how many cases should an investigator knock out per month, on average?
That's-
I mean, I know it's hard to tell depending on what the case is, but like on average, what would you say an investigator should do?
That's really tough to see, and I say that because there are drug cases, narcotic cases, it's just a matter of putting a folder together, where you don't need to speak to any witnesses, you
Yeah,
don't
you
need
just
to get any statements. It's just a matter of getting the necessary documents, putting it together, and sending the drugs off, receiving the, basically, I can't think of the word, I'm sorry.
So right now, majority of the open cases you have, what are they? Are they, would you say a large percentage of it is drugs, or would you say a large percentage of it is assault?
We do have a lot of drug cases. There are assault cases, there are sexual assault cases. We have a whole mix of everything. Nothing really crazy, but there's a whole mix.
And so they're just
Felony.
sitting there, Chief? I mean, are they not?
They're being worked on, but the way it's been done traditionally, even before my time, when something happens now and we can solve it now, that takes precedence. Something like a sexual assault. If we have a sexual assault, that's gonna take precedence over any drug case. And that's because there's a human victim to a sexual assault, or an assault case, an aggravated assault. We want to be able to jail somebody for assaulting someone in, versus, turning in a case where someone had a felony amount of whatever, methamphetamines. That's something that, of course, the state's the victim, but we have to weigh everything.
So what's, and just say a few years back, we've always had 3 investigators, or in the past few years, we added the 3rd one or the 2nd one, or, I mean, right now you have 3 investigators, right?
I have 4. It's technically 3, but I count 4 because I do count my lieutenant in that.
Okay, you technically have 4. And we've always had technically 4, or,
It has been that way since, I'd say about around the time when Chief Salinas was given that position, back in 2016, 2017, somewhere in that time range.
this form right here, Fred, that we get with new cases and all that, is this new cases just in regards to
Yeah.
traffic violations, or just,
That's the municipal court,
The
one of the
receipt.
excerpts.
well, that's everything that he gets?
That's municipal court, this is just strictly
Correct,
municipal.
yes.
This is strictly municipal court.
But what cases as far as what?
Misdemeanor, class misdemeanor.
Yeah, it's gonna be your traffic citations, your,
Public intoxication,
Yeah.
disorderly conduct,
Okay.
things like that.
Because I do see a dramatic drop from
Theft, theft
19.
under 100.
Yeah. I'd like to see numbers kind of, because we had 16, 15 officers back in prior to COVID, and then after COVID in 22, 23, 24, the numbers dropped significantly with more officers. For instance, June, this past month, we had 152 cases, and in 2019, we had 239.
Is that, that's the municipal court?
Through municipal court, yes. That's new cases. But it's just a food for thought. That way we can look at numbers and take it from there.
And that is, June of 24.
June of 24, correct.
I'm showing 155 citations for June of 24.
Okay. On his report, it says 152, so maybe there's a miss of 3.
I'll tell you what we can do, and part of what we'll do is other budget, it's not just this particular budget, but what we can do with, so you can see some of the numbers, is if you go back to this first slide. I think it's the first slide. What we can do is, we can do something similar to that over a certain amount of years, and we'll do the same thing with permits, we'll do the same thing with, again, give you a history of what those numbers look like in maybe 2018, 19, and what they look like now. Now, albeit to Chief's credit, or to the point, again, being fully staffed, I think it's been an issue for years. I mean, I think Chief mentioned a year, but I wanna say it's been more than a year, where you not only had, the challenge has been, even, prior to Chief, since I've been here, is that we would hire folks, and then a year later, they would be gone. And so it was
Yes.
cyclical, you never did, but in saying that, if we could, if you wanna look at the history of like, for instance, offenses, if what we're looking at is total offenses, we could look at a yearly basis and kind of look at the numbers based on, what's being pushed out, if that helps, again, and I'm.
It would definitely help.
Yeah, and what we need to see is just that, outstanding cases, new cases, cases pushed on to the DA, and sometimes cases are dismissed, isn't that correct, Chief? I mean, the DA say there's not enough evidence or something.
At times,
There's another category, so we need to see those, and if we could go back a few years and look and see what they were.
Yeah,
and
because,
then
I mean, if the
compare to
case
how
is
many
incomplete,
investigators we have.
we need to know why and what we can do to fix that problem if the case was incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only the cases, I also want to take a look, part of the duty of the investigators currently in place, how many cases each of them have, And how soon are they getting the time to investigate these cases and push them forward and push them on versus, just sitting there because you have to pull them for other duties. So it's gonna be part of that management end of it as well, to say, this is priority. Do I put them on duty or do I put them to investigate here? Because I think there's plenty of officers currently right now. It's just switching and what's part of their role, because if you're giving them duties outside of their job description, then they can come back and ask for more money, right? But, I mean, it's something that you wanna look at to see where are we at. I mean, do we really need more investigators, or do we just need to switch scheduling around to see what's on it? If we're not, if Tuesdays, like Mr. Nas said, they're not visible, they're not busy, well then, get back into that part, that other duty type thing, until we can figure out, I mean, you guys are doing an amazing job, but there's times where we're gonna come across to, we're not gonna be able to predict numbers that we're looking at as we move forward. And, we also have to look at different tax things that we look at, and revenues and stuff, so we have to look at different avenues that we can look at to see, well, what can work and what cannot work, what's priority and what's not priority. If you ask me, I think equipment might be a little bit more than staff itself, because you wanna be up to date, it's part, again, it's part of that management, and I can see that you might be a little bit exhausted, to be able to say, you know what, I'm going on vacation, and I'm on vacation, because I can rely on the next person, because that person is trained to do the duties that I can perform.
And also another thing is to make sure that if they send a case, whether to the DAs or to the county, to Joseph, the county attorney, making sure that it's complete the first time going in. That way, there's not a return, and now you gotta do the job twice whenever you could have been handling another case. Now you gotta redo that
That's
case.
hardly ever the case, so. Cases get played out, they get dead filed, you get dismissed, and you get convicted. Once it's at the DA, unless you turn in junk, they're not gonna return our case.
I mean, because we've all heard it, that sometimes, they take, someone to the jail and they turn them around because something's not done properly. And, I mean, there's many cases, we've heard people say that there's cases kicked back for whatever reason, and,
Yeah, because the reports aren't done right or completed, or they're missing, like, I don't know, if they're missing like video, they're missing
At the jail?
something.
The jail, the only time they denied us for something like that, is if we didn't turn in a complaint. They don't have anybody there, reviewing our complaints. I could literally scribble on a piece of paper. So verbiage, then and there intentionally, knowingly, recklessly shot Bozo the clown on June 4th, whatever. And if I have it notarized, my name's signed, and it has their identifiers on the top, they're gonna charge them with it. They're gonna input it in their system, and that's where it's gonna go. There's nobody at the jail checking our complaints.
so the judges don't check in,
The judge will check it in the morning, but initially for them to be accepted, there's nobody there that's gonna reject it.
Yeah, but that's where we're getting the issue from, is whether a judge kicks it out, or, district
County attorney.
county attorney.
Yeah, and with that is always given time to be corrected.
Well, that's what we're trying to get to, is make sure that we're doing it right the first time, so there's no correction that needs to be done. So maybe giving more training, make sure they cross their Ts and dot their Is, and taking it from there.
Well, an interesting data to see how many of those get rejected.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see, I mean, what's our error rate? Is it 5% or is it 25%? And address it when we see when we have a real problem.
Getting more efficient is basically what we want.
Right.
Fred, Fred, I have a question. You guys
That's
can hear me?
That's Miss Tiffany.
He
Yeah,
thought it was
sure.
Jesus.
So how many times have you been reported that they've taken, you know, their cases have been wrong, or they try to take people to jail and something's missing, how many times have you been told that?
Not that things have been missing, what I have heard, this Councilman Talamantes?
Yes.
What I have heard, council member, is that they reject people at the jail. Now, those
Right,
rejections,
exactly. Well, didn't you just send us a message not too long ago about people being rejected, not the case
Yes.
part, but the people?
yes,
Thank you.
I did. Yes.
So far this month, I have them on my phone. We've probably had a good 10 or 11 denials.
Good what?
Denials,
Rejection
Yeah.
to the jail.
rejections,
Yeah.
And then, you say the number
about 10 or 11.
out of,
I don't know how many arrests we have so far. We're more than halfway through the month, so I figure we might get another one or two.
Now, Chief, can you explain on that in part of the, when we talk about rejection, there's times where you guys, or attempt to make an arrest, do you guys just let them go on their own? I don't mean that, I guess maybe not, that's not the verbiage, but where there's times where there's other ways that people get released or don't have to go to jail? Does that make sense? Is it, when you guys make an arrest, or you make a stop, or you have somebody that you have on a felony or a class that you know is not gonna be accepted at the jail, what happens? Do you still take them to the jail to try to get them processed?
We had been, but it was causing it was being kind of rude in a way because we were getting complained on for releasing them there at the jail in the front. So it's kind of a gray area right now where a lot of officers they're asking over the radio if the jail will accept, and if they'll accept, they'll transport and not leave them at sea. Or if it's a traffic stop.
Does
they
that make
drive off.
sense? Is that they have to call and ask if the jail will accept people, and if they don't accept
The
them,
majority of cases, that's what we're doing. We're calling and making sure that they'll even accept because
right?
there's no sense in finding out somebody has a warrant. We're gonna make an arrest and I run a 27, a Texas ID, Ben Briscoe, date of birth, and then it comes back, beep, he has a warrant. I'm gonna check with the jail and make sure, are you gonna accept that person? Cause if not, there's no sense in me going and trying to handcuff him if he decides to fight me, cause now we're gonna have to take him to the hospital to get checked out because he resisted arrest.
So what do you do in that circumstance, if the jail does not, in that circumstance, the jail?
We'll just cut him loose.
What kind of message are we sending to the community there?
And
So
what
that-
about new offenses? Have they rejected for new offenses as well, or is it just for?
New offenses, it's all dependent.
So
The
what about-
majority of the ones that we received this month, they've been warrants. A lot of them have been possession, felony possession. There have been females, several females. But new offenses, the majority of,
Building and such.
and I call them minor offenses, of course, all offenses, they're all in the same to me. A theft is a theft.
What we feel.
And you're a victim regardless if they stole your gavel or if they stole your truck, you're still a victim. And I believe you deserve justice. But
Well, we know that's the issue, we know there's an issue at
But
stake. And
my question
we
is-
have to bring it forward.
If it's a new offense and they choose not to take them, what are your guys instructed to do, or? do they
we still create a report.
Oh.
We still create a report. We do it just like we do anything else. We make a complaint, we forward that to the county attorney, and from there, we get a warrant created.
Part of this I'm learning as well, because this is a little different for me, but one of the things that the chief and I talked about, I wasn't aware of until a couple of weeks back, was one of the things that happens with some of this is that they could very well attempt to make an arrest, but they have to create a warrant after, in some cases, a warrant gets created after they attempt to make the arrest. So it's attempt to make the arrest, the jail doesn't accept them, we'll create it and we'll get you later with a new warrant. And hope that warrant that they're gonna create is something they get picked up. That's my understanding, correct, is that right?
That's unreal.
Wow.
So because of all that process, we're wasting the time We're
We're
wasting time,
we're wasting a ton of
respond.
hours doing
Yeah.
reports to get warrants for
When-
warrants that we can't
When
even
at the end,
serve.
you're gonna get rejected.
But it's out of our hands.
That's the stuff that we need to bring to the table as soon as possible, because it's causing
Again,
a lot
again,
of
like,
money, and it's delivering the wrong message. And so
Problem
we
is-
get the complaints from the citizens, we get the complaints from business owners, all this stuff that justice is not being served, and justice system's not working within the city. So therefore, this is the stuff that needs to be come forward. Has it been brought forward? I don't know.